How's it going, everybody? Glad to see you made it. Today we're going to be changing the transmission fluid and filter inside a 6L80 in my wife's 2014 Chevy Silverado 1500. If you guys are curious if you have a 6L80 transmission in your Chevy Silverado, you can check the RPO tag in your glove box and look for the letters MYC. Alright, my wife is actually having a couple different problems here, and you're going to see me try to find this in this video that you're watching now. But it would have a little bit of a late shift. It would go up in RPM and kind of like hang there for a little bit or a little bit longer than it should, and then it would fall down where it's supposed to be. And then another one that was a little bit more scary was while going around 55 miles an hour in fifth or sixth gear, it would have a surge or like a slip. So you'd be going and it kind of would just jolt you a little bit in the car, and you're like, well, what was that? So that's what I'm trying to replicate right here. I wasn't actually able to do it per se, but you can kind of watch the RPM as we're going along here, and you can kind of see a little bit of it. I wish I could have captured it on camera, but you know, it would only happen ever so often. I couldn't make it do it while I was driving it this morning. Alright, if you guys haven't noticed already, I'm monitoring the transmission temperature right now. I'm using the DIC, the Driver's Information Center, to do so. I'll show you guys how to use that later on in the video. It's not a big deal. But the normal operating temperature for the 6L80 in this truck is about 180 to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. We're sitting on the cooler side of that, so we're pretty much right on the money as temperature goes. Alright, so we stopped on the back road here on the way home. I wanted to fully stop, and show you guys first, second, and maybe a little bit of third. I just wanted to show you how long it takes to shift through these gears, because it's a little bit hard to show you guys just how late it's shifting when you're already at highway speeds. Alright, so I'm going to be talking about the owner's manual for a little bit here. I wanted to stop and really show you guys you can find a lot of the stuff in your manuals in the cars that they come with. And you can buy these manuals for pretty cheap normally, even if your vehicle doesn't have them. So just I'm just going to go through and kind of point at some stuff here, like the transmission stuff, where to find the fluids, what type of fluids, and etc. It doesn't tell you everything, but it tells you kind of what you need. You know what I mean? It's not a lot, but it's enough. Yeah, if you guys want to, just take a little time, pause through some of this stuff, really take in some of the information if you need it. All right, we're going to cycle through the DIC until we can get to the transmission fluid temp. And it says anywhere from 160 Fahrenheit to 200. We're right in that range. It also said that we need to cycle through all of our gears here. It said to put the parking brake on. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hold my foot on the brake and slowly let off to let it move around. Make sure nothing's behind you or around you. Slowly move this thing through the gears. I'm even going to put this into the manual like gear select here and cycle through. So you got the first gear, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. You don't technically have to do that. I'm just kind of following the book here. Normally I wouldn't, but for you guys I'm doing it. So now it's in park. I'm going to go ahead and pop the hood here, wherever this little deal is down here. I don't care about that. Alright, so just like the booklet said, everything's still running. We're at the right temperature. We'll pop this dipstick out of here and see kind of where we're at. See if I can steady this a little bit here. Focus, please. Focus. Focus. Anyways, we're pretty much right on the hot line. So we're full. Alright, I went ahead and shut the truck off and let it cool for a bit. Get this thing jacked up in the air. Alright, here we are. As you can see, There is an exhaust pipe that's in the way, which is pretty nice, and there is no drain plug, which is also pretty nice. See if I can get this over here pretty good. So we gotta pop every one of these bolts out of here and slowly tilt the pan towards the passenger side, which is the side that we're on right now, and let most of it drain out, make a giant mess, and also hope like hell we can reuse that seal, because the kit that you buy doesn't come with one. You have to pay extra for it because it's supposedly a reusable seal as long as it's not damaged. Yep, it came out prematurely, got all over my body, but I found a drain pan that's really dirty that we're just gonna forget. We're just gonna forget that I missed it. It's fine, not a big deal. You guys might not be able to tell, but it stinks. Pretty burnt, so of course it's not absolutely horrible, but it definitely needed to be changed. Alright, so we're getting ready to clean this up with some brake cleaner and a rag. Get back, demons! Back! Alright, this gasket doesn't have to be the cleanest thing in the world, but it'll only go on there one way. So, there we go. Make sure you press these little tabs in here, you can see them. Make sure you press them in the hole. Get them all lined up, and you should be ready to slide it back in there. Perfect. Even more perfect. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and get this filter put on here. Try to line this up over here. Jeez. Push it in there a tad, move it over. It'll fall into place, and then you push it up, and it should be good. Alright, bear with me here. This is kind of hard to do with one hand and such. So you're going to want to go to the left side, slide it up and in, bring it back over, and just push it straight up. It's a lot harder to do when you take it off. I was trying to move it over and do all this weird stuff. You just kind of got to play with it until it'll finally come out. Alright. Let me zoom in here. You can see that I got about half the bolts on this side all the way around in a U shape. I need to go around to the other side and do the other half. I just looked this up. This is about 80 inch-pounds of torque. I do not have an inch-pound torque wrench, so I'm going to have to just do it by feel. I normally do that anyways. It shouldn't be a big deal. Don't over-tighten them. Just pretty much the same way you took them off is how you're going to put them back on there. Alright? If you can't get a feel for stuff like that while you're doing this, just go get you a inch-pound torque wrench. Alright, we got the pan sprayed off and the surrounding area as well with some brake clean. Get it all dry and cleaned up. We'll be able to check for leaks. Only thing we got left is start pouring oil down the dipstick. Okay, let's see if we can't make a mess. Notice the fluid color. Now compared to what it was. That's what it's supposed to look like. Alright, I'm not going to bore you guys with this anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and get it done. Alright, I just finished putting the rest of that transmission fluid in there. That was 6 quarts. We're going to let this idle for a bit. Chew on some of that fluid. Let it pump through so we can get the correct reading on the dipstick. And then in the meantime, I'm going to take that way over there and put the stuff in a barrel. And then by the time we get back, we should be able to check it again. Alright, we went ahead and we wiped off the dipstick prematurely because it was going to take us 2 hands to do it. You pop that thing all the way in there, pull it all the way out, see where we're at here. Try to put it to where you guys can see it. So you guys can see the hot level. That's the one we're going off of, and our fluid is ending right about where my finger's at, so that's right on the money. Good deal. Alright. We're going to take this thing on a test drive, make sure it shifts pretty good, and go from there. Alright, by this time you guys should already be able to see just as well as I did that it's shifting a little bit sooner than it was before, and it seems to be a lot smoother. Now obviously the roads where I'm at are kind of bumpy here and there, but it's definitely not jolting around every once in a while, and it's shifting a little bit earlier, which is nice. So yeah, that's about all we got. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Alright everybody, I really appreciate everybody making it to this point. It really means a lot. I'd like to ask you guys, if you liked the video, to please like. If you don't, tell me why. I'd also like for you guys to subscribe if you're not subscribed. It would really help the channel, really help me meet more lovely men and women like yourselves. And thank you guys so much for tuning in for as long as you did.